Hello and welcome to COVID Conversations here on WNCU 90.7 FM, streaming on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. I'm your host, Kimberley Cartwright, and I'm the News and Public Affairs Director at WNCU. And we're using the Zoom platform to talk about how COVID-19 is affecting our world. Well, today my guest will talk about advanced care planning. And I'm going to read my intro from the website of the North Carolina Serious Illness Coalition. Advanced care planning is about helping ensure that your wishes and choices are consistent with the treatment you receive if you are unable to speak for yourself. For many people, discussions about advanced care planning can be very overwhelming. What does it mean? What's involved? How complicated is the process? Is this relevant for me? So my guest today is David and Kathleen Sevier, and we'll talk about the North Carolina Serious Illness Coalition during COVID-19 and beyond. COVID has really opened the door wider for discussions like this. So Mr. and Ms. Sevier, can we talk about, first of all, who you are and then what you do?
Absolutely. I'll start off and then I'll have Catherine chime in. We have been doing work around advanced care planning for a number of years, and my background is with originally with the military. I had a 22-year career with the U.S. Navy, and in the process put together the TRICARE health system while I was there. Worked a lot in Capitol Hill and in Washington, D.C. And then subsequent to that have worked in consulting and done a lot of things both internationally and nationally around health policy. We had an opportunity to participate in the Serious Illness Task Force with the North Carolina Institute of Medicine 2 years ago, and that led us to helping create this Serious Illness Coalition. So I'll leave it there and let Catherine talk.
Hi, I'm Catherine Sevier. I am a nurse by background and spent a 40-year career working in the cancer world. Since leaving the clinical practice part of this, I've been involved with a number of issues around how do we provide quality care to people and make sure that the conversations that they have about their wishes get to the place that they need to be. So think your family, your friends, your decision makers, your doctors, and your nurses. And so for the last 6 years now, David and I have been working in this area and have been involved subsequently with the Serious Illness Coalition. On the side, my volunteer work is that I'm also the state president of North Carolina AARP. And in that role, again, want to talk with people about health policy issues that really matter to them.
Okay, before I knew about the North Carolina Serious Illness Coalition Task Force, I didn't know it existed, and I didn't even know that it was needed out there. So I want to ask this question: why is what you're doing during the COVID-19 pandemic important?
It's particularly important during this period of the pandemic, Kimberly, because so many people are faced with serious illness decisions. As we know, almost 600,000 people have passed away here in the United States as a result of COVID, and millions have gotten COVID-19. So they and their families are faced with critical decisions on how to take care of them as they engage in this serious illness. And so it's a particularly important decision that people have to make.
Yes. So then planning for care in advance, why do that? Why is that important for my audience?
Great question. So if you can imagine being either facing COVID-19, or even if you're in a car accident or some kind of a situation where you can't speak for yourself, you want to be able to have someone who can say, well, I know what they want, even if they're not able to communicate. So whether that's through a health proxy, a healthcare agent that they have identified, or just putting into their documents, their advanced care planning documents, how they want to be cared for in the event that they're in that situation is critically important.
So what kind of documents are included in an advanced care plan?
So there are several documents that North Carolina and other states recognize as part of their advanced care planning process. One is called a living will. And that is where we really describe, if these circumstances existed, here's what I would want. So think about things like nutrition. Do you want to have a feeding tube put in? Do you want to be resuscitated? Those kinds of questions, and it gives the person the opportunity to answer those. The second is a power of attorney for healthcare, which says, who should I, as a clinician, turn to ask, what would David want? So it really is, who do you want speaking for yourself? And giving them legal permission to be that spokesperson. What's really important to us, though, is that beyond giving someone that legal permission, it's important that you tell that person what you want. So I have a document, but you know me, and you know if I'm not able to speak for myself, this is what I want you to do on my behalf. I want you to represent me. And that's what that power of attorney does.
So is that under the category then I saw on your website of authorized surrogate or healthcare agent? Is that what we're talking about right now?
Yes.
Okay.
And that authorized agent is the person that if you came into an emergency room and they were trying to find out who should I be talking with about the seriousness of my family, this person's condition, they would want to speak with that authorized agent.
So when people are talking about this is such a sticky subject. Nobody wants to die. Nobody wants to be in a position where they're seriously ill. So then how are you talking to people about how to convey that message so that in the end, there won't be miscommunication, but that there'll be understanding about what a person's wishes would be?
That is the challenging question. But you know what? We make decisions as early as 16 years of age about what we would like to have happen when we pass away, and that's through the organ donation decision that you can make when you get your driver's license. So that question faces people all throughout their lives, and we just think it's critically important that people have thought through, gosh, what would I do if I couldn't speak for myself? Who do I want to have speak for me? How do I want them to address the healthcare team that might be facing those issues with me, and how is it moved forward? So that ought to be a question that we all can ask and all can answer, but it does represent some challenges.
Yeah, I'm really interested too in what are your recommendations for, say, like first steps if you're gonna draft an advanced care plan, and then who should be involved? Do you have a team of people? Is it okay just to tell one person? So what are my very first steps to being able to take care of this?
Well, the very first step is that you start to think about it. And that sounds intuitive, but so none of us want to think about our own death. And yet we need to just start to think about it. We need to really get comfortable with what a decision might mean, what it means to think about, do I want to be resuscitated or not? And then we need to put it in writing and simultaneously share it with our family members and the loved one, and make sure that you've picked someone to speak for you that is willing to do what you want them to do. That sounds sort of intuitive, but some people know my mama couldn't pull the plug on me, and that's what I want. So I best ask my sister, because she will do what I want her to do. So really having that conversation. And it's not something you can do quickly. It's something you have to really put your spirit into it and think about what it is that you want.
So when you're making these plans and you have the document, then what does the law say about advanced planned care? Do you have to get a notary involved or an attorney to get involved? So how do you take care of the documents and what the law would prescribe to be able to carry out someone's wishes?
That's a great question. And we're right in the middle of hopefully changing the legislation here in North Carolina. Each state has its own laws that relate to advanced care planning. That's both a plus and a minus. But here in North Carolina, currently you have to have 2 witnesses that are unrelated to you. They can't be your sister or your brother or whomever, and a notary. So in order to have that document legalized, we are in the process of hopefully changing that. There is a bill before the legislature, SB 666, as a matter of fact, to allow for 2 witnesses or a notary. So we're going to hopefully make that a good bit simpler, and then allowing for those documents to be electronically transmitted to where they need to be.
Okay, I want to talk to you about the way that you guys are disseminating information. I know that you have a video series that talks people through some of these situations. So would you give more information about that and then how people can access what they need?
So our video series is available through our website, which is www.ncsicoalition.org. And when you go on the website, you can go to the link and you can see the videos. There are 7 videos, and they are they're very short and sweet, so you don't have to spend a whole lot of time, but they answer specific questions, just like the ones that you were asking us, like who is an authorized spokesperson for you. So those will give you the background information, and they will tell you how you can get the forms that you need.
So that's really exciting, especially I went to your website. It was so organized. There were so many points. There was so much information. And I want to talk a little bit about your 13-point plan for your agency and maybe share some information about some of the issues that the task force has as a priority for recommendations. So first of all, I want to deal with recommendations. So would that be recommendations to lawmakers? Would it be recommendations to separate organizations? Who are the recommendations in that 13-point program related to?
You've hit on it. Some of them are to legislators, and that's why we are talking to the legislature right now. And this bill has been introduced and hopefully will pass and bring some significant change and improvement, modernization to the way advanced care planning is done here in the state. Some of them are to some of those recommendations that came out of the year-long task force. Go to policy entities such as the Department of Health and Human Services, DHHS, here in the state. So they are particularly focused on the relevant organization or organizations that can do something about particular issues. So we have these 13 priority recommendations. A number of them are about advanced care planning, also clinical practice. Telehealth is a big issue. We're trying to improve the way telehealth is operating in broadband here in North Carolina to get that pushed out a lot more so that people in rural parts of the country, the state can access information. So there's a number of different areas that we focus on.
Caregivers
Yes.
and workforce as well, because one of the things we know is we need a lot of people in the workforce to have the skill sets to care for the seriously ill.
And they need to be compensated appropriately.
Okay, this time has gone by so quickly, and there's so much more. We haven't even begun to like crack the surface of all the information that I saw as a part of your website. So how can people get more information about what it is that you do?
Well, like you did, Kimberly, going to our website, the NCSIcoalition.org is a great way to get more information. We have monthly meetings on the third Friday of each month, and people are welcome to join us there. And that information is provided on the website. We do a weekly interview. We call it Friday Facts at 8:30 every Friday morning, and people are welcome to come to that. And again, that information is provided on the website. So that's one of the best ways to learn about it. But frankly, having interviews like this, and thank you so much for allowing us to join you. We're certainly willing to come back if you want to ask some more questions at another point.
Thank you. I certainly will. It's been my good pleasure. David and Catherine Sevier, thank you so much for coming to talk to us about the North Carolina Serious Illness Coalition. It's been my good pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And audience, you've been watching and listening to COVID Conversations here on WNCU 90.7 FM. Be sure to like us and follow us and subscribe to our pages to see more of our archived shows. I'm Kimberly Pierce Cartwright, your host. Until next time.